Hi, John. My mom said that you liked the last video, so I thought I would make another one of me reading some poetry. These are all things that I wrote last year. Some of them are fragments and just randomness. But anyway, this is called The Word Discursive. The word discursive is on every page for 200 pages. I go to sleep repeating the word discursive. I ask a friend if this ever happened to them. They say it took a long time because at first they didn't know what discursive means. The dictionary says it means 1, digressing from subject to subject. 2, relating to discourse. The dictionary says that discourse means written or spoken communication. I go to sleep feeling my mind get hot, overgenerating. Discursive is exhausting. That's my personal definition. Academic burnout is reading 200 pages with the word discursive repeated as often as possible. Is discursively reading 200 discursive pages with the word discursive repeated discursively as often as possibly discursive. Discursive. Let me show you some cursive handwriting. They don't teach kids these days. Discursive. All right, thanks for letting me get that off my chest. Reading theory is so meaningful, but also at the same time really frustrating. The next poem is called Walking After the Long Windstorm. We did recently have like really bad windstorm. Boston didn't get any snow, but we got a terrible windstorm. And then other places got like 5 feet of snow. So anyway, I wrote this one after that. I went for a nervous walk and looking up at the trees said, thank you to each one. Thank you for still standing. The wind had been striking the roof of my attic room all night, and the strikes were so loud. Before the phone alarm went off, the wind woke me. That's how you know the wind is loud, when the wind becomes as distracting as your phone alarm. I'm not talking about one of those sweet phone alarms where it sings you a cute little song. I mean, like, really obnoxious, like wake up sound, like the wind was that loud. Here's another poem that's about nature. Jamaica Pond on Christmas Eve. I wrote this one this year. All right. As ice laces from the edges of the pond inwards, swans sit at the water's side, giving each other distance, or perhaps to turn to look at one another more fully. A family of ducks bobs around in disconnected unity, steely ripples drawing lines around them like speech bubbles. I see only one other jogger who has their face mostly covered in a stretchy hat, which looks smart and half like an in the process of becoming Halloween costume. On Christmas Eve in 10-degree weather, I don't expect many people to be here. This is the time for swans and ducks. So I have stumbled upon a sheen on everything, the magic light that touches blue to blue. Another fun holiday thing I did was I went to the Nutcracker. Actually, I went to the Nutcracker by myself, but it was fun. And I wrote this short poem about that. The Nutcracker. The bear leaping in splits and the rats fighting with swords must be the ones like me in this play that would have any fairy eating their candy. Fantasy as the reality of the ballet is a sore knee, bleeding toes, ingrown pubic hairs, and still I watch from my mezzanine seat all the glittery snow falling and diamonds dazzling the scene. I also write some haiku, which is something that PK got me into. PK is someone who friends with John. You probably don't know them, but anyway, so here's some haiku that I wrote. Arboretum in early November, haiku. An elephant ear, big, pale, yellow leaf lying among the oak leaves. This haiku is called After the Rainstorm. A black chair left out, slicked with rain, a curvy back, 3 rows of mustache. And another haiku. Is this one also called After the Rainstorm? There's been a lot of rainstorms. Transparent dotting, raindrops on a mop of grass, living memory. All right. Now I'm going to scroll down, and I have a poem that's sort of experimental called Connection Enigma. Isn't it confusing to just talk to another person and figure out like how you figure out what to even say? I think about that a lot. Connection Enigma. What would a wound be if it were a swimming pool? You don't believe in questions anymore. We go for a walk, we are treading water, your head is a squirrel's tail. I wonder how to connect. You don't yet know it isn't a good idea to swim. The air hasn't started to zigzag. And that one just leaves you hanging, but thanks for listening to that. Let's see if I should share anything else. Do I want to share something else? I will end it with one last poem. I like to write poems about witches. This one is called 10 Different Kinds of Witches Who Mix Teeth with Words. And you might recognize this because there's a reference to a neighbor that you had when you were growing up, who I also got to know. 10 different kinds of witches who mix teeth with words. 1. The jumping moonlight witch. They dance with a string like a cat and howl about belly aches. The too many teeth they've swallowed, which are actually like little plastic king cake babies. An article about what to do if you swallow X passes is almost nothing to them. A fluttering shadow, a sugar crumb. 2. The up to something, but we're not sure what witch. They melt things in the sun and try to feed stray cats their lunch. 3. The moon pie witch. Every Halloween, they tell the story of Mr. Doug who handed out moon pies. He was sad, so he gave and gave to say sorry to those who left him and to who he was and was not. He taught everyone to eat moon pies, Mr. Doug's moon pies, in silence, contemplating a life of loss and how life could be transformed by making a big bright spot, a little cake. The cul-de-sac witch. You thought you knew the trick, like you thought you could go right through, but he makes you turn around. 5. The last time I saw her witch, she was dancing in the moonlight, her doll collection rotating air into a little fist as she screamed, "I'm not pouring cereal into bowls anymore." 6. The searchlight witch. A space between that lingers. If it wasn't blood in her mouth, a vital asset of the community. 7. The rainstorm witch. On learning the dismissal of the crisis inside of them, "I don't even know you," they exclaim to themselves, a lap cat curling up, exerting a small, warm weight. 8. The witch who introduces pain and passion and says, "How did you two not know you were cousins?" 9. The galaxy in her eyes witch. Am I a bad person? She keeps asking, her problems mirrored in your own, the personal universe, in a meeting of folks with chronic illness. 10. The Cliff Notes witch. Howl, so that there is no difference between being an artist and not being an artist. All right. So I'll leave you with that. Thinking of you, hang in there. You have lots of creative people around you and practical people too. So signing out. Thanks for listening. Keep in touch.